You've talked about it before, like these films are not getting made in the same way. I mean, Last Black Man in San Francisco is another one where it's like Sundance is all about it, but even still, like the journey a movie takes like that. So why don't we talk about that film? Like, what was the coolest part of that experience for you?
Man, you know, the coolest part of that film and this one also, one is it was so refreshing to see black men put on screen in a humanistic form, to have humanity, to be laid out with layers, to be seen as other than the stereotypical black male in movies and TV shows. It was so refreshing to be a part of that. I felt like, man, am I a part of a movement right now? Because even with this movie, Just Mercy, you have these three black men, even though they're in jail, on death row. You see more humanity and grace and brotherhood in these three brothers than you see in a lot of TV shows, in a lot of movies. And these guys are facing death row.
It's crazy.
And I thought that was just beautiful. You know what I mean? I had to be a part of something like that because I think it's long overdue. You know what I mean? There was one particular scene in Last Black Man in San Francisco. You saw it, right? I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it, where the guy had the tense moment and there was his face off, and any other movie, it would have just been a fight, it would have been guns pulled out. And man, when that brother broke down and put his head in his shoulder and started crying, that was centuries of healing that needed to be seen on that screen. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And man, so I commend Joe Talbot, A24, Plan B, Jimmy Fails, all those brothers, that whole gang over there at A24 for Last Black Man in San Francisco, because yeah, that was a necessary movie also. And I'm glad to be a part of that one too.
That's awesome. What about the city of San Francisco? What spoke to you about the city? Because it's a really fascinating place, and obviously so much is going on in this film there. So what was most interesting to you about San Fran?
Man, San Francisco, imagine getting dropped in the Tenderloin. Are you familiar with the Tenderloin?
I'm not, no.
The Tenderloin, if somebody was to say that the creator of The Walking Dead said, I went to the Tenderloin and hung out for 15 minutes and I got the idea for The Walking Dead, I'd understand exactly what they were talking about. To describe what I'm trying to say is that it was such a large population of drug-dependent, mental health issue population in this one part of San Francisco called the Tenderloin, that it was unnerving in a way. And I'm a cat coming from like Southeast DC and grew up in Northern Virginia and Brooklyn, New York.
You've seen some things.
I've seen some things,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And to go there and see that, I literally saw like 5 people prepare their syringe needles right there in broad daylight, like no problem. Saw them walking down the street preparing their crack valves with no problem. And then I thought, but San Francisco has the most billionaires in its city than any place in the world. 1 out of every 11,000 people in San Francisco is a billionaire.
Crazy.
So how is it this big, large gap of disparity between the haves and the have-nots? How is that? I mean, and then when you look at their faces, these are some people, man, look just like, man, look like a brother that maybe just got off stage from jamming, had a hard night, and just, boom. Next day, he's out there on that street. I mean, it was like young, old, black, white, Asian. It was everybody right there in San Francisco and the Tenderloin for that one particular spot. Then you go out, man, and you taste some of the most amazing food. You see some of the most beautiful architecture. You see some of the most beautiful homes.
Amazing spot.
Amazing spot, you know, and I was looking for that rice-a-roni, a San Francisco treat, you know what I mean? But I didn't really get that.
No, you didn't find it? Next time, right?
Yeah, they was like, hey man, that was a commercial in the 80s, man. This is 2000.
It's like it's a little different.
Different now, yeah, but I loved it. I had a great time there, but it was definitely eye-opening to see the disparity between the haves and the have-nots.